Hello and good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Pinktron. I am Brent Robinson, and with me tonight is Sean Fogenberg. Sean, what are you drinking?
I just cracked open this is an interesting one. It is a Lagunitas Tiki Fusion Zombie Cocktail inspired IPA it's a hazy IPA with orange, lime, grapefruit, and allspice. And it is 10%. It's a,
Yowzers.
That's too many adjectives.
That's a lot of words. Is,
yeah,
is that all one paragraph?
what was that?
Is that all one paragraph?
Yeah, let's just call it a Lagunitas zombie.
So it's like a cocktail inspired hazy?
Yep.
Huh. Okay.
Tastes like super citrusy. It tastes boozy. It like 10% uh spicy and citrusy. It's great. I This has been something that I've gotten a few times recently.
Is that like a seasonal thing? Because the allspice makes me think it's more of like a fall, autumnal,
I'm
wintry.
not sure. I really hope that this is a new line that they're starting, because like the Tiki Fusion line, because I don't know, I think like a Mai Tai inspired beer would be pretty tasty, or like you know any of those
Yeah.
Jungle Bird.
Yeah, no, I agree. And I like that it's 10% and it's a tall boy at the same time.
Yeah.
So you're really getting your money's worth. That's
Yep.
great.
Very good. All right. And the other voice you heard is Chris Greenland. Chris, what are you drinking?
Yes, I'm here. Got home after a long day's work. The dogs are barking, and I'm trying to empty this barrel to create room. Oh, sorry, I'm blurred. Room on the bar. It's an Eagle Rare. It's a barrel pick from Fernside. It's a bar around here. And it says purveyors of the old razzle dazzle. So
Around
that's
the old razzle dazzle. Isn't that Chicago?
uh-huh.
Very good. All right. I have a street legal dealcoholized Pilsner because I have to work with children after this, and I am a responsible adult.
I
Wait,
mean,
but one of us has to be.
Reasonable facsimile thereof. And speaking of being responsible, let's talk about racing during your workday. If you're like us and you did HWR at noon Mountain Time today, that's what you would have been doing in race one. And that would have been two laps or three laps of Fine and Sandy. Uh
It's too
two
loud.
laps of Fine and Sandy for 21.3 kilometers.
Usually I rely on
Uh
Sean to know all the details of the races. You, Brent, and Sean, but Sean is having technical issues and can't pull up a cloud-based spreadsheet at the moment.
yeah, and
Uh,
I'd flipped away from my HWR to preview HBR. But anyway, Fine and Sandy is Urakazi. It is a bunch of climbs up the Mech Island climb. I know that. Because the route itself has two trips up the forward direction of Mech Isle climb, which is kind of annoying. But
and there's one on the
uh,
lead-in too. Is that right or no? Am I making that
no,
up?
it's like part of the loop. Like if you look at the thing, it's kind of like the loop itself has like once around Mech
Yeah.
Isle and then around Mech Isle and then the other direction back out and then back up Mech Isle again. It's like a figure eight kind of thing.
So do you have to do it 5 times total? That little
Four.
4 times total. It's not on the lead-in.
Yeah.
Okay.
so I
And that's a little dirt.
remember we rode this, I think it was for HWR back in, like, let's call it February. I remember it being real hard.
Hmm. Yeah, the climb obviously makes it a challenge. I will say I'm really curious with the new CRR. I mean, number one, I guess let's jump right to bike choice on this one because that's obviously the most interesting part. I think there might have been arguments to go gravel before. There's no arguments for gravel now. It's definitely a road bike. I think it's a Tron because you got to make that climb. Could be an argument for a full arrow given the fact that you're going to spend a lot of time not climbing, but I think it's probably still Tron for most people. Um,
Plus, like the pink contrasted against the dirt sandy color would be nice. I think, yeah, for aesthetics only.
Yeah.
If nothing else, you go Pinktron, yeah.
Yep. And the finishes at the Mech Island finish, which makes for some interesting sort of stuff. Like, I mean, obviously you're gonna try and hold on the climb as long as you can, but in terms of like really selling out, there it is about 2 kilometers, I think, from the
Yeah, it's
top of
about
the Mech Isle
2K.
climb to the finish line. And even like less than that, once you hit the like it's only if you can really gap people on the descent too, then you can I think it's only a kilometer when you hit the bottom of the descent, basically. So um there is some possibilities of getting away from people on that climb, especially when they're a little tired after the fourth time. Um,
Is that really the only feature on this course? It is, right? Is that where it's gonna happen? The splits are gonna happen each time, just 4 times?
Yeah, and the second and third time you hit it are actually just
Pretty close together, right?
like 4K apart.
yeah, it's just the Mech Isle loop, right? Yeah, because you go through it, you do the long loop, you go through it, then you do the short loop, then you go through it, then you do the long loop again, and then you go through it once more, then you finish.
Yeah.
So yes, the two, second and third, are quite close together.
So I feel like that is where things are really going to split up is the people who, even if you've stuck with a good group after number 2, once you hit number 3, it's those people who are feeling a little ragged from that second climb and haven't had a full recovery yet. That's where you're getting split off. But because the first one starts fairly early, like the splits are going to start immediately.
Yeah, for sure. I would say top Bs might hold the very front through the first one, but it's gonna be tough for anyone with the strongest Bs to hold the next two. And
Yeah.
certainly, yeah, the Cs and Ds will get split off that group, I think, on the first climb. No offense, Cs and Ds, but the front group of HWR has been every race I've done so far this season has a very, very strong and fast front group. So
Yeah, if
it
you
really goes.
because it'll be about 4 minutes from the pens to the first Mech Isle climb, maybe 3.5 if you're with the very front. And if you stick with the very front, you will upgrade from C because you will go over the your Z map will be well above the 4.1 limit.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, I would say it might be a good strategy if you're a C or D or even a low B to pick out in the pen as early as you can the people that you're racing against and the people you want to make sure you beat in the standings or however you do that, and try to make sure you don't get dropped by them. That's who I would be targeting, especially those early ones, and then maybe try and drop them on 2 and 3. But though I would not sort of burn yourself all the way out to try and hold the group on number 1 unless you really think you can make it. Because if you go out and burn out, that middle section is going to be tough.
Yeah.
It's a long. Yep.
Good. That brings us to herd beginner racing, which is 1 or 2 laps of park perimeter loop. Again, herd beginner racing is a inter-category race, so there are multiple categories within the D category for only D racers. So the CD is at the top end of the D in this. Must be right? They do 2 laps. So the strongest Ds will do 2 laps. The newest Ds will do 1 lap. For 9.8 kilometers, about 20 kilometers for those doing 2 laps. Park River is basically all already. They were outside New York. It's kind of like rolling with you do Harlem Hill in one direction, but I can't remember which direction it is.
I think it's the steeper.
The regular Harlem Hill,
Yeah.
the actual Harlem Hill up direction. Okay.
And that's, I mean, I think that was one of the first races that I raced when I was a D, and that is not an easy course to race.
No, every New York course is a bit tricky with the rolling bits, and that Harlem Hill climb it's a make it moment in every race for sure. and it isn't easy to do.
I mean, and it's not just there, it's the 5 minutes after it where it's still rolling. You've actually just put in an effort. The groups are stretching out.
Yep.
So, again, Tron or fastest arrow thing that you've got is probably still the best option, but it is one that's going to be pretty tough to really get this kind of figured out. I think that this has been raced in HBR enough that most of the riders will probably have seen it before.
Yeah, plus
Yeah,
plus it's net flat. I don't know if you guys knew that.
Yeah, net flat.
Net flat.
I didn't even say it for the last one. All right. Yeah, and I guess the only other thing to add about the bike stuff is if you are new, note that like if you've been sitting there worried about your drops or adding up or whatever the story is, that it's all shuffled. So go check and make sure there isn't some faster bike that you should be getting.
Yeah.
All right. Climbers Gambit. Chris.
I don't know who wrote the schedule, but we're doing Innsbruck reverse this weekend. It's the stair steppy but terrible way up this climb. Just wrote the preview post. Thank you for the reminder, Brent. As a reminder, this is our hill climb series. The only thing that matters is your time on the hill segment. So for Innsbruck reverse, it is 5.8K and an average gradient of 8%. But there are some pretty awful mid-teen percentage stretches in there. So it's one where you want to deploy the watts strategically, go hardest when the grade is the hardest, try not to throw up. And then, yeah, we do Christmas shopping at the end of it. Full climber. I don't think there's an argument for anything other than that. Pretty straightforward.
Yeah, I don't think I had looked at the schedule. I had planned myself a recovery week in between this week's ZRL and next week's. And so wasn't planning on doing it, but I'm actually getting back to near peak fitness, and this would be a good one to get a 20-minute like all out really evenly paced test in.
Yeah, go get them. You just need your internet to come back by Sunday. That's the only catch.
Yeah. I mean, Innsbruck is my favorite. I like the four a little better than the reverse, but the verse is lovely. We're all going to show up for Swarovski crystals when we pass the Swarovski statue at the top. But for those who don't know, that crazy little man face, that's the Swarovski statue at the top. And that's real. That actually exists in that spot, which always blows my mind. I know I've said that before on this show, but I don't care. All right.
I love the things where it's like, that's an interesting little thing that they put in here. Why would they put that there? And then you look at the real climb and it's like, oh, okay.
Yeah. It's very cool. All right. Mountain Goats is Climber's Gambit. I assume it's just straight up the Climber's Gambit route.
Yeah, that would make sense.
Looks that way.
You go through Titan's Grove and then up the Epic Reverse, which is I think the steeper side of Epic.
Yeah, it's steeper, but it's like kind of, I think there's a few more downhill spots in it. Yeah.
There are more, but they are not as long. So there's that rolly bit at the top of the forward. So you've essentially done your 20 minutes, 25 minutes, whatever it is, to get to the top, and then you do a long downhill, an uphill, a long downhill. This one you kind of every kilometer or so you get like a 10-20 second little reprieve before you get back on the power.
And then just that long final climb up from that village, right? It's like you turn like a little hairpin around a village and you can like see the like where the road crests over and it feels like it takes about 6 years to get up there. Yeah. Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, this is the miserable way to go up it.
Yeah. Um, so it's a climber's gambit is basically a scratch race finishing at the top of the climb. I would say there's probably some merits to taking a climbing bike. I mean, you want to hold the thing. You might think about a Tron because there's a lot of race before then to hold in the draft, but if you're, I don't think you're gonna find too many people that are the people you would race with who are smashing the heck out of it early on. So if you think you can stay with them, you might save a few seconds at the top in a climbing bike. But if you're on a Tron, that's good too, or a best all rounder type thing.
Yeah, if that's a scratch race, then that race is decided on.
On that climb.
Yeah, or you could bike swap.
You could, but I would not recommend.
Good, good though.
I don't know why this is saying going coastal. It's canopies and coastline. Something has happened in the.
Who runs that series?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know why it's not picking it up from the like other spreadsheet. Anyway, the route this week on Stampede is canopies and coastlines. It is 27.5 kilometers. It starts at the Desert Pens and then goes up Titans Grove and then down Titans Grove onto the new roads and then goes like all the new roads past like the Crab Shack and all that stuff, ending at Stoneway Arch, which is like I think the last sprint arch on the new roads.
So is it basically it's all the way out to like the almost to the like temple areas?
Yeah.
Or okay.
Yeah.
That's a really cool course.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's interesting for a TT because you're gonna have to do a little bit of a punch early on to get up over Titans Grove. You'll certainly want to spend a little bit more effort across that, but it's not that steep, so you don't have to kind of go like, it's like 100 and well, you're gonna be at probably threshold-ish, right?
Yeah,
It's
but I mean that's
27.5
it's only
kilometers.
at 4% for a few hundred meters,
Yeah, so you're gonna
essentially.
do maybe like 105% of threshold or something like that across Tahoe Titans Grove. Maybe take 95% on the downhill, and then probably just settle it at threshold basically to finish it off with. It is again, those new roads are deceptively rolly. Every time I
Yeah.
ride them, I'm always a bit more like, this is not as flat as the map makes it look. So there is probably a few seconds, and like the Stampede results have been like very close. So, there you might be the difference of one or two places if you are able to just squeeze a little bit harder on the uphills and then even it out on the downhills. So,
Yeah,
I think it's really cool.
we've done a stampede that was just to the like from the Desert Pens just to the top of the Titans Grove. So it was like, a 9-minute
Yep.
short time trial. But even in that, there is a lot of power modulation that you need to do on that to get it right. And I think that with the second half of this being more downhill to flat with the little rollers, but it is going to be really interesting how people pace that first half to get through Titans Grove to see how much they've got left at the end, because you've got there's kind of a like general uphill for the first third of Titans Grove, and then you kind of like there is a downhill into the climb. You do the climb, there's another downhill, and then you kind of climb back out before you get a downhill toward the coastline. So yeah, this is one where I think figuring out a power that is probably in that 105 to 110% range for that first half, and then recovering on those downhills is going to gain you a good amount of time.
Yep.
But you've got to balance that against like how much can I hold for the second, like along the coastline.
Yeah, because it's probably gonna be really close to, I would say, well, the C's and D's might get close to an hour, like 50-ish minutes, a little bit more than that. I'd say the faster B's and A's are going to be like in the 45-minute range-ish. So, finding that appropriate target power that you're aiming for the whole race, and then kind of deviating from that for sure is definitely a big part of the strategy for this one. This is the
Cool.
longest race of the series, guys. So if you do this one, you're doing good.
What's next week's? Since I don't have the
It is
thing up.
2 laps of Duchy Estate,
Okay, so relatively shorter.
7.7 kilometers total,
Okay.
Yep. But kind of with a little more roll to it and a definite sort of climb feature to it. Yep. And that brings us to this week's bullseye, which is accelerate to elevate. Is that right?
That doesn't sound right.
Uh,
Oh, well,
Chopped at 31K, so it gets you.
probably to the base of, because accelerate to elevate is you do the coastlines and then you go up Alp to or Alp to Zwift.
Yeah,
But
to Zwift, yeah.
it would be fun if the Alp to Zwift also counted as one of the preems.
It looks
That
like
would be
he's
the
got a
meanest
cap at
bullseye of all time.
31K. So that's shortly after the start of the Alp climb, but 6 sprints. So I can't make heads or tails of this because there's only 4 sprint banners on the route and there's like no lead in. So I don't know where we're getting 2 more sprints.
I wonder if he's using the Alp. No, how did that work?
Is there
It does show a blue banner there, but that's just the start of the Alp climb, right?
is there like the
Is it the jungle? Oh, that's what it is. It's the jungle banner.
Okay.
You get the jungle banner when you go through there.
Okay, so that's 1. That gets you to 5. Where's the 6th? Is there like a
Finish.
The finish line.
the finish? Oh, the finish line. Okay, the custom finish is another one. Okay.
Which must be right at the bottom of the Alp.
Oh, that's fine. I might do that. Next week is kind of wishy-washy with work and family and all that stuff, but I don't have this badge yet, and that'll get you to the base of the climb, and then you just
got to do an hour.
you just got to do an Alp effort.
An Alp after a bullseye. Boy.
That's fun. Isn't that like that's like the opposite of what it was last week, right? Wasn't it basically those roads in the other direction? Just kind of like a semicircle was bullseye. That's fun. I like that. I didn't do it, but I like the idea.
So I just opened this and I'm seeing 5 sprint banners along the way. Wait.
C4.
Yeah. So
Yeah, the fifth one, though,
Fuego
is-
Flats.
Oh, that must be the start of the route?
Yeah.
Okay, so would that count then?
Well, I assume that it'll be starting in the pens, so you'll go through the Fuego Flats sprint first.
Oh yeah, okay. Sorry, the Swift Insider thing, of course, shows it starting like after the pens because it's got the weird middle of the desert start. But yes, in a race you would start at the pens. So there's probably not one at the desert pen banner.
Well, there would be one in the desert. It's just a question of where number 6 is.
Well,
Yeah.
is that maybe the finish then? If that's where the start is, I bet the finish is at the desert, is at the jungle pens.
That's probably, or at the jungle banner.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Sorry, jungle banner, pardon me.
Yeah.
Okay.
That makes sense.
All right. Clear as mud. Got it.
If we get it wrong, you can all have your money back.
Yeah.
All right, that brings us to round the horn. We were gonna talk about how much fun we all had in our lives today. But nobody wants to hear about 3 middle-aged white guys complain about life. Let's be honest. How about we do this? Let's do what's a bike Christmas present you're hankering for? And you got a bike Christmas present they're looking at?
Oh, Yeah, the two things that I'm considering are, so I've got this new room set up and I might put together some like posters or something of a Zwift variety to put up.
That is it right there. Let's dress Sean's new pain cave.
Yeah, there you go.
All right.
Cool. Would you put a Watopia map up?
So I've been like considering making an AI version, like AI art version that includes all of the relevant landscapes, but isn't the actual. I don't want the actual map.
It's not very artsy.
No.
Like it's nice, but it's a
How
little
about like some
functional.
Watopia like travel tourism board
Yeah,
photos
that
that
kind of thing.
Delta Airlines come visit Bali? Oh, that'd be good.
Oh, those would be good.
Yeah. Be like
With like
a
a bear
smiling
falling
and
out of a
waving
tree.
Yeti. Yeah. Jasper eating some honey. That's a good
That's
line.
yeah, yeah, like a Scotty Squirrel like visit Watopia.
Oh, a little bit, maybe like kind of like Fallout. Do you know the game Fallout when they have like
It,
Pip-Boy? But instead of Pip-Boy, it's like Scotty Squirrel and it's like come visit Watopia. Yeah, yeah. This is good. That's a good one. What about you, Chris?
Um, I mean, I don't want to give away too much. I think we might be saving some of these gems for next week's Pinkatron Christmas Spectacular. But one thing I've been researching for multiple things, like my regular bike and also my trainer bike, because I realized I never lube the chain on my garage bike. Um, I was researching different like chain lube options because I'm almost to the end of like the bottle of lube that I have on my little trainer desk. So I think I might be in the market for a few stocking stuffers, but one of them I think is a new chain lube that I arrived on. I'm not to the point where I'm gonna get like a crock pot and wax my stuff. Like I don't I see the benefit, I think. Like when it's good, but the effort of having to like take my chain off and melt some wax in a crock pot in my garage, and then the reviews are like, yeah, it lasts like 150 miles. I'm like, that's
you're
not
like,
a whole
that's two
lot.
rides. Or yeah.
That's not a lot, really. I'd like some. I need like the maximum results, minimum effort solution to this, and it's some sort of drip on thing, and it's not drip on wax because you need everything like super sonic clean. I need like the best oil based lube, and I forget what it is off the top of my head, but I went through like the whole like zero friction uh, chart on that. So I think that's like top of my list for making the switch of my chain lubes. So when I sit on Santa's lap and write my letter, it is for a specific chain lube, but I don't remember what it is at the moment.
You'll look it up and put it in the comments on the Facebook post.
Yeah. And I need like a new like wiring set because my like backup to the backup bike has like snapped wires everywhere, and I need to like rewire that and get that back on the trainer.
Like your shifter cables and brake cables and stuff.
Yeah, like the rear derailleur cable snapped like 2 years ago, and I never fixed it. So it's just like pinned up against my wheel, and it's just hanging on the wall of my garage, and I haven't fixed that yet. And last year for Christmas, my wife got me this really cool like light set for my bikes, and it's colored pink, and I want to be able to like color my trainer bike pink, but it's targeted for that bike, which I haven't fixed yet. So I feel really bad that we're anniversarying that gift, and I haven't got it online yet.
This is when someone gives you like something that's like for a project, doesn't it feel like they give you homework? It's like it's
Yeah,
like
that's like 12th on my to-do list right now, but I want to get it done.
it's like, oh, here, dear, here's some wallpaper for the bathroom. Oh, would you like to put it up for me? Although bikes are funner than bathrooms. Yeah. I
What's on your
mean,
list?
I think I could definitely use another new pair of bib shorts. I don't think I got new bibs last year. I think I got one the year before, and I have like some seriously ratty bibs. Like I've got a pair that's got like a hole right between the where the
Ooh,
chamois sews
no.
to like the rest of the bum piece, which like I only use them on my trainer, right? So the only people who can really see are my family. So, I love you, everybody.
And they don't want to see it either.
Nobody looks. They all avoid looking at me. They know better. I've got one pair that like I stepped on them and the like gripper piece around the leg ripped. So, but I still wear them, whatever. But they're getting pretty ratty. So definitely could use a new pair of bibs. Also, I hate doing laundry, so I'd probably keep using the old ratty ones too because I don't have to wash my bibs every day.
That's fair. I picked up this calendar year. I picked up one of Cy Seymour's indoor cycling
Some little
bibs.
bellows.
The level bellows, yes. 10 out of 10 would
Really?
recommend. Yeah, especially during the summer months. Like they're perforated on the sides. And yeah, tastefully, it's tastefully done. But it does air in evaporational cooling. And yeah, I think like I feel like I picked up a lot of bibs this year. Um, my bib cup overfloweth at the moment. Got a lot of good ones in the quiver.
Cool. Cool. Well, I think on that note, thank you to Sean Fogenberg. Thank you to Chris Greenland. Thank you to all of you out there listening. Enjoy your races with the herd, everybody. Moo and good night.
Bye.
Yeah.